Hi everyone, this is Darren Brigg coming to you from the combined offices of Active Pro Business Solutions and Darren Brigg Consulting. We are a joint venture business consultancy specializing in BEE and small business development services. Today I'm going to briefly run through some of the relief measures available to businesses which have been made available by government and various other institutions in response to the COVID crisis. Please note that this information is based on the latest info, but is a work in progress, as some of the info may change or be amended in the coming weeks or days even. There's quite a lot of info, so I'm going to run through it relatively fast. However, you can re-listen to the video or pause it at any stage to read the notes on a particular screen. So first up, we have the Employee Tax Incentive, otherwise known as the ETI, from SARS, which is basically a reimbursement of PAYE. So the ETI allows businesses to claim back 1,500 Rand for each employee under the age of 30 years and earning below 6,500 Rand per month. It also allows you to claim back 500 Rand for each employee over the age of 30 and earning below 6,500 per month. However, employers will only receive 500 Rand for employees that have already been covered by the ETI payments for the last 2 years. So the basic criteria is that you need to be registered for PAYE, and the benefit is that the ETI amounts have been increased and will be paid back monthly instead of twice a year, and this will help you to aid your cash flow. Ask your accountant or your payroll administrator to complete the necessary applications. So next up, we have PAYE relief. So for the next 4 months, companies are able to withhold 20% of their monthly PAYE payments without incurring any penalties or interest. However, this money will have to be repaid in equal installments starting 7 September 2020. So it's a deferred payment and not a discount. It's important to remember that. The criteria is that you need to be a tax compliant company with a turnover of less than 50 million. And again, it increases your cash flow temporarily through delayed tax payments. You can ask your accountant or your payroll administrator to make the necessary adjustments to your PAYE payments every month. Then we have delayed provisional tax payments. So provisional taxpayers will only have to pay 15% of the estimated total tax liability for the first provisional tax period, and then 65% of the total estimated tax liability for the second provisional tax payment. And sole proprietors are allowed to only pay 50% on their second provisional tax payment, the balance of which must be paid by the 30th of September 2021, or 6 months after the company's financial year end. Failing to do so, you will then be charged interest. So the criteria are tax compliant companies, again with a turnover below 50 million, and Treasury is yet to finalize the requirements for individual provisional taxpayers. The benefit is once again to increase cash flow temporarily through delayed tax payments, and you can ask your accountant to recalculate your tax liability and make the necessary adjustment. The Temporary Employer and Employee Relief Scheme, or otherwise known as TERS, is administered by UIF, but it's separate from the regular UIF system. TERS basically provides monetary relief for distressed companies, and the amounts paid will be a percentage of the employee's salary. So we have 38% for higher earners with a maximum payout of 6,730 Rand. And it goes up to 60% for lower earners, with the minimum being in line with the minimum wage. And it's available for 3 months. Funds are used to pay staff or top up partial payments by employers, but employees cannot get paid more than their normal salary. So the criteria: you need to be registered for UIF, you need to prove the impact of COVID-19 on your business, and then there's various different industry sector arrangements that may come into effect with changes to the wage payment arrangements, and that is effected through bargaining councils. The benefit is that businesses who have closed due to the lockdown and cannot afford to pay their staff will be assisted so that staff continue to earn, and the funds can only be used to pay employee salaries and wages. It's not for any other business operational costs. The process is you send an email to covid19tours@labour.gov.za, and an automated email reply will be sent to you, and that details the application process and the documents required. And then once you have all your paperwork together, you would then send it to COVID-19 UIF claims at labour.gov.za. So we're going to move along to UIF. UIF applies when employment is terminated or the organization is closing. So this applies to ex-employees, and they would usually submit the claim for UIF. However, under the current circumstances, they're allowing the UIF forms to be sent through by employers. So an employer can lodge the claim on behalf of the soon-to-be ex-employees. Payments are made directly to the ex-employees each month until the benefit ceases. Because TERS is for temporary closure and short payment, whereas the UIF benefit is for carrying on work but for fewer hours and days, the applications and the system is not designed to accept applications for both sorts from one employer. So you need to choose between UIF or TERS. You can't claim TERS and then top it up with what you can to support employees. The directive specifically states that an employee who is being paid by the employer during this period is not entitled to the TERS benefit. The criteria are you need to be registered and compliant with UIF. The benefit is a percentage of salary or wages payable for a maximum of 8.7 months, depending on the length of the employment of that particular employee. And the process is the normal UIF process, and you would have to submit employer forms UI 19 and UI 2.7. Moving on to the Government Relief Fund, which is a total of 150 million. This is divided into two categories: the Debt Relief Finance Scheme, which is aimed at assisting distressed small businesses, and then the Business Growth Resilience Facility, which is aimed at assisting small businesses to take advantage of supply opportunities relating to the COVID pandemic. There's quite a lot of criteria. You need to be registered with CIPC. It has to be 100% South African owned. Employees must be at least 70% South African. You need to be registered and compliant with SARS and UIF. You need proof that the business is affected by the COVID pandemic. Your company registration documents, FICA documents, certified IDs for all directors, 3 months bank statements, the latest annual financial statements or management accounts, not older than 3 months from the date of application. You would need a business profile, a 6-month cash flow projection where applicable. I think that refers to the Business Growth Resilience Facility and not the Debt Relief Finance Scheme. And then a copy of a lease agreement or proof of ownership if you're applying for rental relief. The benefit is that it is a low interest loan. And the process is you would first register on the SMME SA government portal. You'll receive a reference number, and once you've registered, the application documents can be downloaded and submitted via SEDA or SEFA. SEDA will also assist micro enterprises to comply and request assistance, and you can contact them via their email address. Then we have the Oppenheimer Fund of 1 billion, which is an interest-free loan to micro, small and medium-sized businesses, where money will be paid out directly to employees of those businesses and is repayable by the business. So it's important to note that the business is responsible for paying this money back, not the employees. The amount at the moment is set at 750 Rand per employee per week for a period of 15 weeks. This fund is facilitated by the 4 major banks, and it's limited to businesses that were financially sustainable and stable before the pandemic started. And again, the benefit is an interest-free loan, and you would apply via your bank. That's FNB, Standard Bank, Nedbank, and ABSA. There's also a relief for small-scale farmers of 1.2 billion. Small-scale farmers who have an annual turnover between 20,000 and 1 million can apply to the Department of Agriculture for financial assistance in the form of an intervention package. This means that it's not a cash payment. Applications for this fund close on the 22nd of April 2020, and it's only applicable to non-commercial farmers. Now, the benefit of the scheme is that vouchers will be issued to these small-scale farmers in order to redeem goods at certain retailers and co-ops. So that'll enable you to buy seeds, livestock, medication, fertilizer, etc. And the process is that you download the application forms from the department's website. Commercial farmers that are in distress who have loans at Land Bank can apply to their 100 million rand fund for assistance. Moving on to the COVID-19 Tourism Relief Fund, which is 200 million that's been made available. And it entails a once-off capped grant to SMMEs to ensure sustainability during and post-lockdown. The process will, however, be guided by the Tourism BEE Codes of Good Practice. Applications for this fund close on the 30th of May 2020, and it's accessible to the following types of businesses: accommodation establishments, hospitality and related services, travel and related services. So the benefit is they will issue 50,000 Rand to each entity, and the grant funding can be utilized to subsidize expenses towards fixed costs, operational costs, supplies, and other items. One would apply on the tourism website. Then we have the bartender and waitron relief, which Pernod Ricard South Africa has pledged 2 million Rand to support bartenders and waiters affected by the national lockdown. The fund entails a 500 Rand per week payment to qualifying bartenders and waiters, and it's facilitated directly through the restaurants using an app registration process created by Snappy. So I would suggest you get in contact with your bosses at the restaurant to see if you can apply for this particular fund. Then we have the IDC COVID-19 Essential Supplies Intervention, where 500 million has been allocated. This has been established to provide funding to companies for the acquisition and or manufacturing of essential supplies on an urgent basis to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. A comprehensive list of these essential supplies has been published by the Treasury Department, but basic criteria is you would need, there is quite a comprehensive list of supporting documents, which I'm not going to go through today, but the companies have to have a track record of manufacturing comparable products. In the case of imports and trade finance, you need to prove the lack of or insufficiency of local manufacturing. The company would need to be an accredited supplier where applicable if the contract or purchase order is with government, retailers or multinationals. The company would need to demonstrate profitability through historical financial statements. And the intention is certainly not profiteering, so the markup has to be reasonable. And exports are allowed if it forms a part of a bigger contract for manufacturing. So the benefits are short-term loans for once-off contract or import funding, a revolving credit facility, and also providing guarantees to banks for banking facilities, imports and ordering requirements. The IDC loan and trade finance facilities are calculated at prime plus 1% per annum. The MSEP loan facilities is 2.5% per annum, and guarantees are at 2% per annum. So the process is to register with the IDC and follow the instructions for application. So that about wraps it up for now. Should you have any questions or need any further assistance, contact us using the details on the post. And please note that for the duration of the lockdown, we have reduced our fees by 60%. And remember to follow our social media pages to receive further updates. as we will be posting a variety of video and audio clips on relevant topics in order to assist businesses during this crisis stage. So stay at home, stay safe, and stay healthy.